الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا وعظيمنا وحبيب قلوبنا وشفيع نفوسنا أبي القاسم محمد وعلى أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين وأصحابه الغر الميامين. الحمد لله الذي جعلنا من المتمسكين بولاية سيدي ومولاي علي بن أبي طالب. الحمد لله الذي هدانا لهذا وما كنا لنهتدي لولا أن هدانا الله. أما بعد، يقول الله في كتابه الكريم: بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. يا أيها الذين آمنوا كونوا قوامين بالقسط شهداء لله ولو على أنفسكم أو الوالدين والأقربين. The first of our salawat in honor of Rasulullah Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sallam. The second in honor of Amir al-Mu'mineen Ali ibn Abi Talib. The third with your loudest voices in honor of the Imam of our time, Imam Sahib al-Asr wal-Zaman. Respected scholars, brothers and sisters, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah wa barakatuh. Thousands of women around the world are victims of honor killings every year. An honor killing is a killing that takes place from a particular community or a particular family or a particular tribe of a member of their tribe who they feel has hurt their reputation. Many of the victims of honor killings are normally those who rejected an arranged marriage or a forced marriage from their parents in wanting to hopefully find a marital spouse who was somebody they shared their principles with. Sadly, many of the victims of honor killings in the world are normally women with Muslim backgrounds. If you were to study the effects of honor killings in Pakistan, for example, amongst other countries in the world, you'll find that many of these girls who have been killed, or in some cases have been the victims of acid attacks, or in some cases have been forced to commit suicide, are all girls who could have been my sister or your sister. You find that naturally marriage, without a doubt, is one of the most important decisions we're all going to have to make in our life. When a person wants to get married, naturally they want to find a partner who is not someone who's forced upon them by their village leader or by their older uncle, but rather is someone who they want to marry who shares their principles, shares their ethics, someone who shares their interests, because this is a life decision that you're making. It's not a decision which you're making which all of a sudden you're going to turn around and say, well, I have no interest anymore. What therefore every Muslim wants, like any human being, is to marry somebody who they've been able to sit down with, talk with, discuss with, in order to make sure that this long-term commitment is based on a healthy decision. It's based on a decision within an environment where they had the freedom of choice. For me and you, many of us are able to get married in a way in which we're able to meet our partner way before we marry them. We're able to sit with them, we're able to talk with them, we're able to discuss with them. And many of us will have our parents turn around to us and say to us that if you're not interested, make it clear. As in, there's nothing wrong in saying that this is not going to work out in that stage of the proposal. However, for thousands of women in the Muslim world, they have no choice whatsoever. These women are forced into marrying people who they themselves may never even see until the wedding night. Maybe even people who are double their age, and dare I say, in parts of Iraq you'll find triple their age. And that no one can even turn around and say a word. If a 65-year-old rich person comes to their father, and they're a poor family in the village, and wants to propose for this 18, 19-year-old, you'll find that the father will say, I want you to marry him. The girl may turn around and say, well, Dad, you know what? I don't see that this is someone who is conducive for me to marry. My friends have married someone who's in the early 20s, in the mid-20s. Okay, let's say the early 30s. And now you want to force me to marry someone triple my age. Or, for example, the girl herself may be educated, and they force upon her somebody, maybe the same age as her, but not educated. Somebody who may not be educated and wealthy, but they may not get on with each other. Maybe she's a nerd in a certain subject, or she's the type of person who wants to read books, and this person has no interest. Or maybe she's very outgoing, but the person is an introvert. The question you find many ask is, can Islamic law force this girl to be married to someone she doesn't want to be? Because the rise of honor killings is mainly related to arranged marriages. And many non-Muslims ask us until today, in Islam, were you allowed to choose your partner or was it arranged? You find that this is a fundamental question, because in the eyes of many, a Muslim has no choice whatsoever as to who they get married to. Why? Because to many non-Muslims, a Muslim cannot have a girlfriend. If a Muslim cannot have a girlfriend, that therefore means that the Muslim has to rely on his parents, or indeed has to rely on her parents to find them a spouse. If they rely on their parents will bring them a picture of somebody. And when they bring them the picture of that person, they're told that, listen, this is who you're going to have to marry. Many non-Muslims therefore ask, if Islam is a religion of freedom of choice, why is it that there are villages in Pakistan, or villages in India, or villages in Iraq, 3 countries that between them have about 100 million Muslims? Why are there girls that are forced into these marriages? Further than that, why is it that if a girl wants to find someone herself, yes, imagine your sister now says to you that I met someone at college, and I'm talking to them, and I want to marry them. You find that surely someone would turn around and say, well, you know what, if you're talking to that person, and that person is someone you're compatible with, then why not bring their family towards our house? And let's take this further. Why is it that some girls are killed simply because the family found out that they're seeing someone else in the community? Yes. When the non-Muslim asks these questions, these are fundamental questions to answer, because there are many girls in the Muslim world today, many women in the Muslim world today, who are killed simply in the search of love, nothing else. They wanted, like all of us here in this hall today wanted, that we find someone who's compatible for us in our life. You can't guarantee that everybody in this hall went through the most religious ways to find their partner. There are some of us in this hall who got away with having our partner as a girlfriend first. Then we did tawbah and we eventually married our partner, and the rest, they say, is history. You find therefore that in Pakistan or in India or in Iraq, the question of the forced marriage becomes a fundamental question. That can one's parents force them or no? Imagine now, for example, that someone comes to propose. Can a daughter reject her parents' opinion when her parents have rejected someone? What do I mean? Someone has come to propose for your sister. Your father says, I don't like him. Why? His shoes are brown. Yes. In our family culture, we never wear brown shoes. So I'm going to reject him on the basis of this. Can the daughter disagree with her dad and marry him or not? These issues are central within Islamic law, because when a non-Muslim comes to ask me about arranged marriages, I can't deny that Islam has got villages, has got communities with arranged marriages, and that there are girls who are killed because they don't want to get married to the person who their fathers are forcing them to marry. Therefore, what's the solution to this issue? And what's the discussion within the Quran and the history of Ahlulbayt on this area? Because this area of whether you can be forced into marrying somebody or not is a fundamental area. And someone has to address it, because there are certain people in the world who have been unjustly treated because they followed culture rather than religion on this area. I'd like to examine the area of honor killings and forced marriages in the following stages. Number one, how important is justice in a Muslim government in the removal of the principles of the tribal laws? Number two, why are these girls killed? And what are the different reasons that the tribes kill these women who they claim have harmed their reputation. And have their actions truly harmed their reputation? Number 3, according to the Sunni and the Shia schools of law, if you're forced to marry your cousin, is the nikah valid or not? What's the opinion of Imam al-Shafi'i, Imam Ahmad bin Hanbal, Ibn Taymiyyah, amongst others on this key area? Number 4, did the prophets of God force their daughters to marry their husbands? Or were their daughters given permission? Or were their daughters given the choice? Number 5, what's the alternative then for how our sons and daughters can get married? And what are the different opinions of the maraji' on the issue of whether a daughter can be in a relationship with someone without her father's permission? And number 6, which married couples on the 10th of Muharram saw the end of their marriages, but saw them get closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Let's try and examine this and dissect the topic in complete depth. In any country and in any government in Islamic history, there's always 2 laws that are fighting each other. The law of the Islam, of the religion, and the law of the tribes. In any country you'll find in the world, you'll find that the tribal feudal landowners are always powerful. Yes? Even if there's a central government, for example, in Delhi, or a central government in Baghdad, or a central government in Islamabad, it takes one landowner of a huge piece of land to dictate to himself when he can take the law into his own hands. If a government is not built on the principles of justice, then that government and its courts will be nothing more than a post office. You've seen a post office? You go to a post office, you record some paperwork and you leave. A court system should be a system that has listening towards the people's queries, the people's difficulties, not simply a place that gives in to the masses or gives in to the tribal landowners. You find that in the time of the Prophet, the people who gave the Prophet, peace be upon him and his family, the most difficulties were the tribes. In the Quran, they are described as the A'rab. In the Quran, you find 2 different terminologies: the Arabs and the A'rab. Arabs are the people from the Arabian Peninsula. The A'rab are the Bedouins who lived by their own laws and not the laws of the religion of Islam. There were laws of the religion of Islam that if the Bedouin felt it suited him, the Bedouin would follow. The moment the Bedouin felt that the law of Islam did not suit him, the Bedouin would take out their hatred and would only bring their own laws. Because you know there are certain places in the Muslim world today where the Bedouin landowners, when they don't want to listen to the government, they'll take the law into his own hands. He'll tell you that if that person came and attacked my land, I'll go over there and I'll shoot that person. You say to him, but the religion of Islam says you can't take the law into your own hands. The religion of Islam says that if something has been done wrong, or someone has harmed you, stolen from you, treated you badly, there's a courtroom for you to go to. Many times you'll find that the tribal landowners will not be interested in the courtroom. Why? Number 1, they know the government is scared of them. Many countries in the Muslim world, a government stays silent when it's related to the tribal landowners. Why? Because they know these tribal landowners, in many cases, there's a lack of education amongst them. Yes. Many of these tribal landowners, the people who work for them in their farms, you slip him £100 under the table, with Quran, he will go and shoot someone in the head that morning. You find Islam from the beginning wanted one thing established, and that is that do not fear anyone's justice, rather fear the justice of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Why? There's a particular ayah in the Quran that the Harvard Law School has now placed on the front of its door. Harvard was looking for what are the most beautiful verses in any religious book when it came to justice. Surah 4 verse 135 is now at the front of Harvard Law School. What does that verse say? Why would Harvard choose this verse? Because when you want to know the meaning of justice in society and the safeguarding of the rights of orphans, women, widows, the elderly, daughters, this is the best verse in the Quran on justice. Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu, O you who claim to have belief. Many times people tell me, Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu means, oh you who believe. No, 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 no. Oh you who claim to have belief. Do the following, then you believe. Oh you who claim to have belief. Kunu qawwamina bil qisti. Be the maintainers of justice. Shuhada lillahi. Witnessing only for Allah and no one else. Walau ala anfusikum. Even if it means witnessing against yourself. Awil walidaini. Your parents. Wal aqrabin. Your relatives. Sometimes in our communities, when I see that my parents have done something wrong, if it was anyone else's parents who did that, I would attack them. But when it's my parents, I make 70 excuses. Yes? When it's anyone else's parents, I'll be like, you see what they did in the mosque? You see what they did? You see how rude they are? When my parents do that, no, I remain silent. That's injustice. Sometimes I have committed a form of injustice, but I don't want to admit it because my ego is too big for me to say that I done dhulm to that girl, I done dhulm to that wife, I done dhulm to that family. The Quran says, oh you who claim to be Muslims and have belief, be what? Be the maintainers of justice. This is the verse that really represents Islam. The maintainers of justice. Witnessing to Allah that you, when you sit in that Pakistani or Indian or Iraqi courtroom, when you are seeing that the tribal lords are coming up to you saying, listen, we'll pop you in the head if you don't listen to us. Listen, they can pop you in the head 25 times. There's a qiyamah waiting for them and a qiyamah waiting for you. These people, Allah in the Quran made it clear, be a witness against yourself if you're wrong, or against your parents, or even against your relatives as well. Because sometimes what happens is, when you have a friend of yours who's been unjust to a girl, like your uncle, your relative, you know your uncle is not giving his daughter the chance to meet a potential spouse properly. Your uncle saying, I saw you at the age of 6. I said from the age of 6, you're going to marry your cousin. That's it. We have decided in the family that you two are going to get married to each other. Or sometimes there are fathers, wallah, there are fathers before they die, they're like, you have to marry your cousin. And then he puts blackmail on that poor boy, that he's saying to him that, listen, this is my dying wish. You have to marry your cousin. That person, I cannot stay silent when I see such a thing. Why? Because that's injustice. When you are telling a girl or a boy, some man or a woman, that you have to marry so-and-so, otherwise you will be excommunicated, that's the biggest oppression against that person. Why? Why should she marry that person? For what reason? Because you claim that you have wisdom. What if she's not attracted to that person? A lady came to the Holy Prophet, she said, Ya Rasulullah, I'm not attracted to my husband. Simple. He said, has he done anything wrong to you? He said, no, he hasn't done anything wrong. There's no attraction at all, Ya Rasulullah. He said, okay, then perform the khul'a, divorce, and you two can be divorced from each other. The Holy Prophet could have easily turned around and given her a million hadiths about divorce. But ultimately, when that girl wants to get married, you cannot turn around and say that, you know what, my uncle is wrong, but I'm going to remain silent. While we remain silent against the oppression of our families, you'll see the oppression in the country will continue as well. Yes. Sometimes a person has to recognize that the first form of speaking out against injustice is against one's families. Secondly, that courtroom has to be a courtroom where the judge is not scared of those tribes. Because you know what the tribes do in Pakistan? In Pakistan, until today, what's the date today? October the 6th. Just today in Pakistan, there was a law that was introduced which safeguarded those women who are being killed in the honor killings. Yes, because you know what would happen in Pakistan? A girl would see someone, yes, let's say she sees someone, they start talking to each other. They start going out with each other. She tells the dad, I want to get married. Dad says, no. He says, listen, he's poorer than us. Any of you who've seen Sharmeen Obaid Chinoy's fantastic Oscar-winning work that she has done, looking at that girl who was attacked because she wanted to marry someone, her dad turned around and said, he's poorer than us. She's like, but dad, he's a good human being. I don't care, he's poorer than us. And you think, mashallah, he's Donald Trump, the way he's talking, yes? He himself is just about living in a one bedroom between 16 people. And he's telling his daughter that this guy's poorer than us. The girl ends up with the boy and the family saying, come, we will get married. We'll do the nikah the Islamic way. The uncle and the father get hold of the girl, take her by a river and shoot her. Miraculously, she remains alive. Yes? And she lives to tell the tale. In Pakistan, what would then happen? Listen to the injustice that we have within our own Muslim countries. And we tell the non-Muslims that you're not the ones who are going to go to Jannah. Wallah, they have more justice in non-Muslim countries than we have in Muslim countries. What would happen then? That girl, she wants to see her father in prison for life because her father tried to kill her. Who starts coming knocking at the door? The tribes start coming. Yes? What's going on? They say, well, you know, he killed me. Listen, we'll look after you if you forgive him. Yes, but he tried to kill me simply because I wanted to marry someone else, not someone who's a non-Muslim, not someone who's against Islamic law. No, he wanted to kill me. They said, no, listen, you forgive and we'll look after your family. If you don't forgive, then you're going to get a lot of harassment for the rest of your life. You know, this problem will keep coming back. That poor girl, what then happens? She goes to the courtroom and the judge says, what is it? What they then do is they change the lawyers. Yes, originally the girl will have a general lawyer. Then the tribes choose a lawyer for the girl. Yes, you choose a good friend of yours who's a lawyer, and you find that that girl says, okay, I've forgiven for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, I've forgiven. Pakistan today made a change to the ruling. The father and the uncle are released straight away. Pakistan from now on said that yes, if the girl forgives you, you will be released. After about 12 years in prison. Yes, because at the beginning, everyone was getting released. Every girl that was killed, because she wanted to make her own choice in marriage, every girl that was killed, the fathers would be released. Why? Because the family, you know what they would do? They'd give them a small fee and say, listen, stay quiet now, let the fathers through. Islam said, no, oh you who claim to have belief, be the maintainers of justice. Believe you me, this religion is nothing more than justice, compassion and mercy. This is Islam. If Islam and the Muslims do not have justice, then you can forget about this religion and its existence. Be maintainers of justice, witnessing to Allah. Allah is watching your justice on your injustice. Because when the Prophet came to Arabia, what did he want to do? He didn't want people to get away with honor killings. You know what these Arabs would do? His wife gives birth to a daughter. Bring her. What do you mean? Bring her. Bring the daughter. He gets a spade and he smashes the head of the daughter. Smashes the head. Why? He said, I fear there's a day she's going to run away with another tribe's son. So why face that day? I'll just smash her brain now, and then she's not going to grow up anymore. Honor killings were normal, and the Quran would mention that these girls will grow up one day, and they'll be alive on the day of judgment, and they will say, وَإِذَا الْمَوْءُودَةُ سُئِلَتْ بِأَيِّ ذَنْبٍ قُتِلَتْ. The female baby will ask, for what reason did you kill me? Because of your honor? How about my honor? How about my dignity? Because some of these societies, the men don't see women as humans. They see women as property. And when a man sees woman as property, that man has not understood the religion of Islam. Yes. You know, in Islamic law, rape until today, you'll find discussions of rape in Islamic law. The main discussion is what? Not the punishment on the one who has raped. The dowry of the lady becomes less because she's been entered. Yes. This is what? This is a dog that you've married or a human being? In many of these patriarchal, arrogant, chauvinistic, uneducated societies, you found they were doing the opposite of what Rasulullah was doing. Rasulullah was saying, your sister marries someone you don't like. If that person is a good human being and you don't like them because they have brown shoes on, or you don't like them because you don't like their haircut, or you don't like them because they smell of, for example, I don't know, garlic or curry that day. These are not valid reasons. Yes, you don't just all of a sudden go and slap your sister. Umar ibn al-Khattab, when he found out about his sister Fatima becoming a Muslim, when he heard that she was reciting the Quran and that her husband was there in the room as well, he slapped her the most vicious of slaps. Yes. Many narrate the story in the way that he converted to the religion of Islam, because then he said that I'm going to take my sword and I'm going to find Muhammad and I'm going to kill him. Of course, Ali and Hamza were at the door and plans change. So he himself said that what did he do? He slapped viciously. He slapped his sister. At that time, no one could say a word. I don't want you to be married to this person. I don't want you to be religious. Slapped viciously. And she'd be bleeding. What Ali ibn Abi Talib changed in the whole dynamic was what? If there's any woman who are oppressed in their marriage, or they are abused, or they feel that they don't have the freedom to choose, Let them come to me and I will help them in their situation. Yes? Ali ibn Abi Talib, it's no surprise that George Jordan called him the voice of human justice. Wallah. Ali ibn Abi Talib is a moving machine of justice on this earth. When there was a woman, Umar ibn al-Khattab had been told about a woman, she had committed zina. He said, did you commit zina? I said, yes, I did. He said, then you're going to have to be killed because we got the witnesses and you've admitted it. So you have to be killed. So she said, do you mind taking me to the son of Abu Talib? I said, so why? She said, if he says I am wrong, then kill me. I've been wrong. He said, let's go. They came to Imam Ali. Imam Ali looked at her. He said to her, Assalamu alaikum wa alaikum salam. What is it? Umar said, she's committed zina and therefore she is to be killed. Imam says to her, did you? Said, yes, I did. Said, then why have you come to see me? She said, because I believe justice is in the heart of Ali. Said, go ahead, what is it? She said that the person who I had a relation with physically, that person, my children are in a state of famine and hunger. They have nothing to eat. The person, I said to him, please give me something to eat. He said to me, no, unless you fulfill my desires, I will not give you anything. She said, oh son of Abu Talib, what do you do if your kids are dying? Aren't there exceptional circumstances? Did not the Prophet come to reform the rights of women? And now I'm in a situation where this man did this to me. The only reason I did this was because it's a state of life and death for my kids. Imam Ali said, you are free to leave, go ahead. Umar said, why? Said, the Quran says. Said, the Quran says what? Said, the Quran says, those who are compelled to sin, Surah 5 verse 3. Those who are compelled to sin while in a state of hunger, verily Allah forgives them. Yes? Because there are those in society, that girl in Pakistan or in Iraq, that girl when she wants to go and get married to someone, or she is in an unhealthy marriage, you're telling me you killed her because she brought a bad rep to your family? What do you mean she brought a bad rep? That girl has got as many rights as you have, as many aspirations as you have. She wants to build a family in the way you want to build a family. Because what's the reasons they list for their honor killings? The first reason, she wanted to get divorced from her husband. What's wrong with that? Why is that brought dishonor to your family? I've heard fathers whose daughters have been beaten black and blue. I've sat with them in the office. What's the issue? He goes, I don't want her to get divorced. Why? He said, because it'll bring a bad reputation to our family. So you want to see your daughter beaten black and blue? Of course, a lover of Ahlulbayt would never lay his finger on his wife. That is a principle. That is a principle. You want to see a lover of Ahlulbayt, don't tell me ziyarah to Karbala and majalis al-Husayn. Every Tom, Dick and Harry can do these things. The real lover of Al-Muhammad would never lay a finger on his wife, on his daughters, on a woman. Never. Because they would always remember Ahlulbayt and they'd remember the woman of Al-Muhammad who one day got hit. You found that here the father would say, no, it'll bring bad image to our reputation. In Pakistan, that girl who wants to get divorced, if for example now she wanted to go and get divorced, bad image reputation, they'll kill her. Kill her. 20,000 honor killings last year. Second reason is what? Second reason is that she ran away with someone. Yes? When she ran away, who did she run away with? She ran away with a kafir. She ran away with who? She ran away with that Muslim boy. Okay. If she ran away with that Muslim boy, sit them both down. Into what are you? You're a human being or you're an animal? If an animal bought a girl and shot her or killed her, I'd say that's an animal. Allah created it with desires and no intellect, and created me with intellect and desire. You see your daughter, and all of us, let me be frank on this, in the generation of WhatsApp, generation of Twitter, generation of Instagram, generation of Snapchat, every single person over here in one way or the other, their daughter may be speaking to someone. Speaking to someone doesn't mean that they're having an affair. Speaking to someone means that there are friend circles online, people get to know each other. What would you do if you saw, for example, your daughter on her friends list on WhatsApp or on Facebook? She has a couple of guys there. I come and get a gun and kill her, or I come and bring her and say, listen, us as a family, for example, X, Y, Z, this is what we want. Let her open up as well. Let her say that, listen, Dad, try him, talk to him, see if he's a good human being. You never know. Islam never wanted to resort to a stage where you shoot someone or kill someone simply because they were talking to someone of the opposite gender. Yes, even today, Someone says to me that my daughter is talking to someone who's English, non-Muslim, okay? Daughter is talking to someone who's English, is non-Muslim. Can a Muslim woman marry a non-Muslim? No, we know. There is absolutely no chance that a Muslim woman can marry a non-Muslim man unless he converts to the religion. Someone today said to me, my daughter is speaking to a non-Muslim. Can they get married? I said no. Sunni and Shia unanimous that a non-Muslim cannot marry a Muslim woman. But I said, wait, bring them to the mosque. Let's meet them. Maybe he has misconceptions about Islam. Maybe he doesn't know about what we believe in, about our ethical or spiritual system. Maybe we can explain it better to them. Why discount and throw the guy away? And also, don't abruptly tell your daughter, no way. Bring the person, let's meet him. Maybe that human being ends up being better than some people in our communities. And I tell you, I've seen reverts who are more loyal to Al Muhammad than the people born in Shia. There are reverts who came towards Ahlulbayt. You see him in every majlis, not just Muharram when every human being turns up, yes? He was there in every majlis, and you'll see followers of Ahlulbayt who'll only turn up in Muharram. The point being what? When your daughter, you see her in that situation, either we become practical or we lose our head. Practically speaking, that girl has a right to choose who she wants to get married to. Someone asks in Islamic law, if the father decides that he wants to reject someone who's come to propose for his daughter. Yes, the father decides this. Can the daughter disagree with the father? Yes. On which conditions? If the father has rejected him for reasons which are non-Sharia reasons. Okay? A boy has come and that boy has said, for example, that he's a good human being, taqwa, lover of Ahlulbayt. He felt, ticks all the things. He sat with the girl, and then you reject him because what? You reject him because, their method of taqleed and azadar is different to us. So I don't want him marrying you. No, the girl can turn around and say, Dad, with all due respect, that's not a valid reason for rejection. Yes? Look at the antithesis. Those who claim Islam is a religion where the girl can disagree with the dad. Yes? The father's role, while the girl is in his house, the father's role is a guardian to that girl. The father's role is an advisor to that girl, but an advisor in line with Sharia, not in line with his own tradition or his own worldview. And that's why when you come towards the schools of Islam, someone asks, what's the opinion on forcing a girl to get married? Yes. If in Pakistan this girl was shot because her father felt it was bringing dishonor, can that father force his daughter to marry who he had wanted? No. No school of Islam allows a father to force his daughter in terms of who he wants to marry. Yes. If you look at Imam al-Shafi'i and Imam Ahmad bin Hanbal, you'll look within their works, they make it clear. A forced nikah, where the approval is not given from the girl is not being asked, and believe you me, there are places this happens. They'll fly someone over, they've shown one picture of the guy, the girl can't talk to him, the girl can't meet him, fly over, and you look at their wedding picture, he's smiling from here till here, and she's about to cry the rest of her life, yes? Straight away you could tell that this was what? Imam al-Shafi'i, Imam Ahmad bin Hanbal say that this nikah is not valid. Someone says, but Maulana Sahib read the nikah. He just read it in front of us. He can read nikah from now until the day of judgment. While that girl says that I do not approve, then that nikah is not accepted. I remember in Fath al-Bari, in the Sharh of Sahih al-Bukhari, and in the Kitab al-Nikah chapter of Ibn Majah, one of the 6 Sahih, there is a discussion of Khansa. Khansa was the daughter of one of the leaders of the Ansar tribe, yes, Husayn al-Ansari. Khansa came to the Holy Prophet, peace be upon his family. And this is the wonderful thing about the difference between religion and culture. Culture says one thing, the religion of the Prophet says another. She says to him, Ya Rasulullah, my dad forced me to marry his nephew, meaning that the dad forced her to marry who? The first cousin. Ya Rasulullah, I don't want him. He said, Khansa, at the end of the day, why don't you go with your dad's advice? She said, oh Prophet of God, I don't want that marriage. He's forced me into it. I don't want it. So the Prophet said, then the marriage is null and void. Yes. Father's role is what? Not to force. There was a virgin girl who came to the Holy Prophet. She said to him that I've been forced into a marriage. I had no choice. I wasn't even asked. And the Prophet said that it could be null and void. If you give your permission, then it is accepted. If you don't give your permission, then it's null and void. Why? Because the prophets of Allah never forced their daughters to marry someone they did not want to marry. A prophet of Allah did not come and say, maybe advice, but not force. Nabi Musa, in the Quran, when his daughters come back, when Nabi Shu'aib's daughters meet Nabi Musa, the daughters come back to their dad. One of the daughters says to the dad, she says to him that Musa helped us. He picked up the water for us. He walked back with us in a very modest manner. At that moment, there was an agreement that I wouldn't mind marrying him. Yes, can you take a proposal? I don't mind. I don't mind marrying him, no problem whatsoever. Musa didn't propose for his wife. His wife proposed for him. In Islam, a husband doesn't need to propose for his future partner. It could be the lady who proposes for the husband. So you found that Nabi Shu'aib didn't turn around to his daughter and say, no, I don't agree. Or didn't talk to his daughters. No. قال إني أريد أن أنكحك إحدى ابنتي هاتين على أن تأجرني 8 حجج. I want you to marry one of my daughters, Musa, on the dowry that you work for us for 8 years. Remember, Musa was in the wilderness at the time. And so Nabi Shu'aib alayhi salam wanted him to work for him. Was Nabi Musa forced into a marriage, or was the girl forced into marriage? Not at all. Nabi Shu'aib asked his daughters. The daughters said, yes, we'll go ahead. And therefore you found the Holy Prophet, when Fatima al-Zahra, salawatullah wa salamu alayha, the Holy Prophet, how many came to propose for Fatima? This is a major question because it affects our lives today. When people are coming to propose for our daughters. Question A, what is it? Do I tell my daughter about the proposal or do we hide it? Question. Because there are some fathers, you think he's getting married, not the girl. He's getting married. Until you got married, Baba, stop, this is enough now. The boy comes, she's not ready. Wallah, she can take you to the river and bring you back thirsty. Believe me, your daughter's ready. Of course, she'll remain your baby girl, yes, for the rest of your life. But believe you me, she can turn people in circles. Now, that father, he turns around. He, of course, his girl is not going to come to him and say, listen, daddy, I want to get married. Even though Islamically there is no problem. A father, 6th Imam says, the right of your children is you engage in dialogue with them. You don't force them, you talk with them. You open up, tell me what's happening. Now, when your daughter comes up to you, and she says to you, Dad, I'm ready. If not, then when a proposal comes, you go to her. Say, listen, we have this proposal over here. Are you interested or no? Because when Abu Bakr proposed for Fatima al-Zahra, the Prophet could have turned around and said, I don't want Abu Bakr to marry my daughter. Could have said that. But the Prophet went to Fatima al-Zahra. Abu Bakr has proposed, no interest. When Umar came to propose, the Prophet could have easily said, I don't want Umar, so I'm not going to let the news reach my daughter. Sometimes there may be someone who's come for your daughter. You think that your daughter would have said no. Your daughter years later may have found out and said, Dad, why didn't you tell me at the time? I wouldn't have minded. Umar came, Fatima, do you accept? No. Abdul Rahman bin Auf came, Fatima, do you accept? No. Until you found that Aqil, brother of Imam Ali, and others told Imam Ali, what are you waiting for? Yes, when are you going to propose for Fatima? And Imam Ali ibn Abi Talib came, when they proposed, Rasulullah even then said, I will ask Fatima. Yes. Rasulullah, of course, there's no better feeling than Ali ibn Abi Talib coming to propose for your daughter. But there is a principle which we take ethically, and that is, I will ask my daughter. Why? My daughter, I don't know what her needs are. I don't know what her conditions are. I may think to myself that this is how she is. She may be like this. I may see my daughter, she comes to the mosque because maybe she wants to marry a guy who doesn't want to go to the mosque. Let's just be frank. You may have seen her grow up going to the mosque with you. Maybe she wants to marry someone who's not so much of a mosque goer. You as a doctor want all your daughters to marry doctors. Yes, maybe your daughter's saying, listen, Dad, if he's a mechanic and a good looking one, I don't mind as well. I'm serious. And at the end of the day, if your daughter, you think, well, it has to be doctor only because I want to tell all my doctor buddies that my daughters are all married to doctors. Your daughter might turn around and say, listen, some doctor comes, he's a cool guy, charismatic, seemingly good looking, I don't mind. However, if it's a guy who can stand up on his 2 feet whenever we're in trouble and is not worried about keeping up appearances, maybe that's the guy I want for myself. Yeah, maybe. As in, everybody has different criteria. When he told her, Ali, her silence was her acceptance. Yes, her silence was her acceptance, and nor did he make it hard on the son of Abu Talib. Not at all. Basic mahar, basic wedding, because he wanted to see the two of them happy. On this basis, therefore, can you force someone in Islam to get married? No. Arranged marriage can be positive. Someone says, how can arranged marriage be positive? Sometimes no one knows you better than your mom. Do you agree? I'm telling you. However many circles we turn around, in many cases our mom had better wisdom than many of us did. And you found that when your mom tells you to marry someone will say, it's old-fashioned. Wallah, 99% of the time they make good decisions. Yes. And that's something to be appreciated. Number two, not just our mothers, sometimes matchmakers in the community. Now, when you are proposing to this girl, does Islam say you can see her without hijab? Of course you can see her without hijab. You're making a decision for the next 80 years. You like straight hair, you like permed hair, you like curly hair. You need to find out ASAP what type of hair this girl has. And likewise in the world, and I'm being very frank, because some of the divorce cases you read, he says to you, Salaamu Alaikum, Sayyid Ammar, the picture was photoshopped. I saw places where they shouldn't have been. I saw things where they shouldn't have. And you're thinking, Ya Allah, Photoshop is that good? And today with the clothing you can wear, everyone, the person who eats biryani 24/7 can look like Superman with a six-pack. Yes? It can happen. At the end of the day, if people can Photoshop, they can change these things. Islam was practical. Islam said, of course you can see the girl without her hijab, no problem. And you two can even go out with each other, no problem. Go out and talk. You're always worried about that father-in-law who's sitting in the corner of the room, having a look at you when you're talking to the girl. So what are you? You're a prison officer, or you want your daughter to get married? What are you, honestly? As in, you're sitting in the corner of that room, let the two of them talk. 20, 25 years they've tried to be religious. Now you want to be a policeman? Yes, let the two of them talk, let them go out. Someone asked the question, is there a possibility that the two of them can go out with each other without even marriage? Let's see. In Shia law, the temporary marriage, one of its usages can be that the daughter and her prospective partner can get to know one another with the conditions which are set by the father, for example. Someone says, well, which father is going to allow me? Realistically, if I'm going to go to a father now and say that I want to be with your daughter and we want to get to know one another for 2-3 months, do you give permission? Well, if our culture is still holding us back, then don't write me emails, why do we have so many divorces? Yes. Sometimes our culture, not Al Muhammad's thought, our culture holds us back from our sons and our daughters getting to know one another. Someone says, but if they get involved in a temporary marriage, it could be something haram. Hold on, let's see the opinions of the Maraja. Ayatollah Sistani, may Allah lengthen his life, says that if you want to engage in temporary marriage with someone who is still in her innocence, then you would require the father's permission. If you go, for example, to someone like whom, if you go to someone like Ayatollah Muhammad Sa'id al-Hakim, may Allah bless his soul, he says that you don't need the father's permission if the person is still in their innocence, but on the basis they act with respect and maturity when they're together. The difference between the two. Ayatollah Sistani, you need the father's permission. If you, for example, want to be with that girl, the father will say, I give the permission for you to talk for 2-3 months, and then you can make a decision. Muhammad Sa'id al-Hakim say, no, the girl doesn't need her father's permission, but the girl and the guy should act with maturity when they are together. Sayyid Sadiq al-Rawhani, Ayatollah Rawhani, may Allah lengthen his life, in Qom, in his phenomenal work, his jurisprudential work, which he's still writing until today, says even in the innocence, she doesn't need her father's permission, and there is no condition even as to how close they can be with each other. If this is going to be them getting to know one another for this relationship, then there's no harm. Someone might turn around and say, well, isn't that too far? Aren't the boundaries too far? It's not my religion and your religion for us to say what's far. These are the Maraja of Ahlulbayt. They are the ones who look through the books of fiqh. Ayatollah Sistani, one opinion. On the other extreme, Ayatollah Sadiq Rawhani, if that's seen as an extreme. Because originally, the argument was always that if the girl is still in her innocence, then she requires her dad's permission. You require the dad's permission for you to go out with her, for example. Whereas you find that someone like Ayatollah Rawhani says, no, not even the dad's permission is needed. You two are mature adults. You two can talk to each other, get to know one another, and then after that make a decision where you want to head in the relationship. Islamic culture sometimes is more backward than the religion of Islam. Our culture sometimes holds us back. Otherwise, if you look within the teachings of Ahlulbayt alayhim salam, you found that Ahlulbayt made it clear that there are instances where a girl and a guy can go out with each other, no need for the father's permission. For those who are muqalladeen of Ayatollah Rawhani. For those who are muqalladeen, for example, of Ayatollah Sistani, and are strict in following Ayatollah Sistani only, because there's another argument that's posited as to whether one can perform tab'eed of the maraja, where you can follow more than one marja at the same time. And that takes us onto a different area of discussion. But if a person decides, they may look at the opinion of Ayatollah Hakim or Ayatollah Rawhani within their fiqh works and see the possibilities. Why do I say this? I don't want our daughters and our sons to be fearing getting to know one another. Yes, when someone comes and tells me, why are our daughters not marrying from the community? Why are our sons not marrying from the community? It's because we make them fear getting to know one another. We straight away say this is all haram. Whereas the Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam have set conditions that, okay, you as the father, if you're more open-minded, that boy has come through the door, not through the window as we say in Iraq, yes. There are some boys who come through the window and you chase them back out of the window. There are some who come through the door. If he's come through the door, then maybe, just maybe, the way the 21st century is heading, there might be a need to rethink the methods of interaction that are there. Therefore, these honor killings, without a doubt, had no place. Rasulullah had come to remove such things and remove these forced marriages. And he wanted to see a community where everybody was able to make their choices who they wanted to marry. And you saw some exemplary marriages. You saw Khadija in her marriage with the Holy Prophet, for example. You saw Imam Amir al-Mu'mineen in his marriage, for example, with Fatima al-Zahra. You saw Imam al-Hasan in his marriage with whom? With Ishaq, the daughter of Talha, who would later be married to Imam al-Husayn and be his wife at Karbala alongside Layla, the mother of Ali al-Akbar. You saw all of these marriages, but without a doubt, it's one thing being married, it's another having spiritual progression in your marriage. There are many who are married, but hardly ever is there spiritual progression where they want to get closer to Allah in their actions. Hardly ever is there a ziyarah towards a holy site, for example, or a hajj going together. These are the things that save marriages. When a couple has the same spiritual foresight, there is no combination like that. If it's the same worldly foresight, Monday to Friday, 9 to 5, couple of holidays, couple of weddings, that ticks a couple of boxes for a certain time. But when you have the same spiritual goals, it's a different marriage altogether. And that's why you look on the 10th of Muharram and you see the number of marriages, the number of couples who were there in Karbala. You find that what was the common denominator between these couples? What was it? The common denominator between the couples on the 10th of Muharram was their spiritual goal, not their marriage. You found that their spiritual goal became a goal where they wanted to even give their lives away for the grandson of Rasulullah. For example, whom? For example, Daylam and Zuhair ibn al-Qayn. Zuhair ibn al-Qayn originally was not a supporter of Imam al-Husayn according to certain narrations, yes? Originally wasn't. They were all coming back from Hajj. Remember, Imam al-Husayn left when everybody was going towards Arafah, yes? So they were all coming back from Hajj. Zuhair saw Imam al-Husayn. He didn't want to come near him. Why? Because he knew the politics was tense. Zuhair had wanted to stay away from the political situation. So what did Zuhair do? He tried to hide away. His wife Daylam was there. Imam al-Husayn heard that Zuhair ibn al-Qayn is at that tent. What did Imam al-Husayn do? He sent a messenger towards Zuhair ibn al-Qayn. When he sent that messenger towards Zuhair ibn al-Qayn, the messenger came towards Zuhair. When he came towards him, he entered, and then after that, he left. He spoke with Zuhair for a bit. The wife walked back in the tent. She said to him, who was that? He said, a messenger. Said, a messenger from whom? At that moment he said, a messenger from Abi Abdullah. She said to him, and what are you doing waiting here? If the son of Fatima is calling you, what's wrong with you? As in, this is a line which I believe affects all of our life. That one day if the son of Fatima calls us, how many of us will go? When the son of Fatima is calling you, what are you doing waiting here? You found that what happened was, he said to her, but you know I'm hesitant, so on and so on. She said to him, oh Zuhair, go towards him. Whatever he needs, make sure that you're alongside him. He walked towards Abi Abdullah. He sat alongside Imam al-Husayn alayhi salam. Imam began to talk to him, to say to him that Zuhair, I see you as a respected figure, a respected individual, and therefore I would be honored if you come join me. Well, join you for what? Join me to stand up against the injustice of the time. Join me to stand up and give people their freedom to choose their futures, the people their freedom of rights. I have not come out for fame or for wealth or for power. I've come out to bring back the path and the teachings of my grandfather, the Holy Prophet, peace be upon him and his family. Zuhair returned back. Daylam said, what is it? He said to her, let's join Abu Abdullah. At that moment, his wife said something I'll never forget. What is it? She said to him, Zuhair, we'll join Abu Abdullah. Of course we will. But Zuhair, there's one thing. Tell Abu Abdullah that I want to be with Zainab and the rest of the women, wherever they are, yes? That wherever they are led, let them not forget me. Because she could see that her husband was going to be in his final moments. Wallah, I repeat this on many occasions. The companion who gave the most on the 10th of Muharram was Zuhair ibn al-Qayn. Believe me. All the others gave themselves. 120 from the opposition. Zuhair ibn al-Qayn had killed them. And he is the same one who had heard Imam al-Husayn speak to Bibi Zainab on the night of the 10th of Muharram, when she said, are you sure about these men? Are you sure they're going to remain loyal to you? And he said to her, believe me, there are no companions like my companions. And then Zuhair met him with Habib ibn Madahir outside. And Zuhair said, Ya Aba Abdullah, if they cut me into pieces and they kill me 1,000 times and they bring me back alive 1,000 times, it would be my honor to die in your way, yes? That same Zuhair was the one who utters the lines of poetry on the 10th of Muharram. أنا زهير وأنا ابن القين أضربكم بالسيف عن حسيني إن حسينا أحد الصبطين من عترة النبي الزكي الزيني ذاك رسول الله غير الميني يا ليت نفسي قسمت قسمين. I am Zuhair and I am the son of Qayn. I'll strike you with a sword on behalf of Husayn, for surely Husayn is one of the Sibtain. From that pure, lovely progeny of the Prophet, it's as if I see Rasulullah standing now in front of me. And I hope that my body is cut into pieces for him. He fought a valiant battle, and you found that when he died, the first call he made was Assalamu alayka ya Aba Abdullah. He was lying there on the ground, his body chopped into pieces. That was one marriage. But then there was another marriage that was only a couple of weeks old. Wahab al-Kalbi and his wife, yes? Wahab al-Kalbi had only been married for a couple of weeks. When Imam al-Husayn had gone past their house, his mother asked, who is he that you were speaking to? He replied, his name is Husayn, son of Ali. She said, which Ali? He said, Ali ibn Abi Talib. She said, his man was a just human being. His father was a just man. What does he want? He said, Mom, he wants us to help him. The man is a stranger and he wants us to support him in his path. And then Wahab's wife turned around. She said at that moment to him, she said, Wahab, leave it. There's no need for us to go. We've just got married. He said to her, well, maybe we may need to go. The mom said, no, go. His dad was a good man. Go and support him. And I will come with you. And your wife will come with you. They all came towards Karbala. They became Muslims. They had only, the two of them, been married for how many days? They had been married for 17 days. On the morning of the 10th of Muharram, when the companions had gone out to fight, Hur had fallen, the others had fallen, Wahab al-Kalbi came towards Abi Abdullah. When he came towards him, he said to him, Ya Aba Abdullah, I beg you, allow me to now come out and defend you. He said, Wahab, you've only recently got married. Go back to your wife. Look at the beauty of Abi Abdullah, yes? He wants to see that his companions go back to their lives. He wants to ensure that they're not troubled. So he said to him, Wahab, go back. He said, Abi Abdullah, it's my honor to come out. He turned around towards his wife. What did he say to her? He said to her, I'm now going to leave. I beg you, I must go. She said to him, Wahab, I beg you, remain behind. He said to her, no, I have to head out. She said, Wahab, I plead with you, don't go. On the third time, he said to her, I have to go. She replied, go out and fight. He said to her, why did you change your mind? She said, I turned around and I saw the children of Abu Abdullah calling out, Al-Atash, Al-Atash, Al-Atash. I could hear the children's thirst from the tents of Abu Abdullah, and it's broken my heart. But then you would think that was the only thing that changed her mind. But there was one more thing that changed her mind. She said to him, Wahab, I turned around, I saw Abu Abdullah standing alone by the tent, calling out, Hal min nasrun yansuruna. Allahu Akbar. When Wahab was killed, she did not accept the way he was killed. She ran out on the battlefield. Shimr ordered his slave to behead her. Yes? The two of them lay next to each other. At that moment, Shimr threw the head of Wahab towards his mother. Yes? The mother, you would think, would faint at that moment, wouldn't she? No, she picked up her son's head, she gave it back. She said, I would have given more sons to Abu Abdullah had I had more sons to offer him. Imagine how that lady was. And that's why on the night of the 11th of Muharram, many of these ladies were sleeping now. Kulthum, Sukaina, the rest of them, Layla, were sleeping. Who woke up all of a sudden? Daylam, the wife of Zuhair. Yes, Daylam woke up. She called her servant. She said to her, my servant, come here next to me. She said, what is it? She said, I have this white piece of cloth. Go out and look for Zuhair's body. Go out and find him, please. I want to make sure that he has a kafan on his body. That servant went out. A few moments later, the servant came back. Daylam said to her, did you cover his body? The servant said, I'm sorry, I didn't. Daylam said to her, why? She said, as I was about to cover the body of Zuhair, I saw the holy body of Abu Abdullah lying without any kafan on him. May Allah bless you. How could I cover the body of Zuhair when the body of the son of Fatima al-Zahra has nothing to look after him? Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. May Allah bless all of your tears. May Allah bless all of your tears. All of you who have a haja, with the tear that is trickling from your eye, ask a haja. The dua is accepted with the tear for Abu Abdullah. Ya Allah, raise us with Muhammad and Al Muhammad. Ya Allah, protect our sisters around the world who face the oppression of honoring killings. Ya Allah, remove the honor killings from the lives of many people in this world. Give freedom and rights towards the Muslims and their communities. We pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala the Surah Al-Fatiha, but before it the loudest of your salawat. Ya Husayn,